Mr. Speaker, yesterday at the Australian Senate in Canberra, I was present at the launch of the Australian International Parliamentarians for West Papua, hosted by the Australian Green Senator Richard Di Natale. Also present were Green, Labour and Liberal members of the Australian Senate and a number of West Papuan leaders in exile. We were also pleased to welcome the International Lawyers for West Papua, represented by Jennifer Robinson, who coincidentally is the lawyer for the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, and the MP for Vanuatu, MP Ralph Regenvanu. The acting Foreign Minister of Labour in Australian Parliament opposed the participation of the Labour members of coming to our launch, but some of them came anyway. This was interesting in itself. Why is there an issue? And why would anyone want to stop the participation of MPs on an issue of this regional importance? Mr. Speaker, if New Zealand citizens wish to raise a flag within this nation, whether it's the Tino Rangatiratanga flag or the All Blacks flag, no one gets locked up. If a citizen in West Papua raises the flag, the Morning Star flag it is called, they face 15 years in prison. Since 1969, these people have lived under a level of oppression that no one should have to accept, and the New Zealand and Australian governments have been largely silent. Right now, in a country just north of Australia, the Indonesian military enforces these laws, tortures and murders citizens. Right now, 5 West Papuan leaders are in prison for daring to hold a meeting in a soccer field, because they weren't allowed a building, to discuss self-determination issues. Self-determination being the right of citizens to choose their own governance. The Jayapura 5 face trial in an environment which is neither safe nor just. The New Zealand Green Party, in conjunction with the other international parliamentarians, are calling for regional solidarity and support for West Papua. We wish to see things happen immediately, like the Red Cross, who were expelled from West Papua. Which other country in this region has the Red Cross been expelled from, and yet our governments turn their backs? For the recognition of these people's Melanesian status at the Pacific Island Forum, which other Melanesian country is kept out of the forum by governments such as ours? For journalist access, which other country are no journalists allowed, international journalists allowed across the border? And why are we colluding with this? New Zealand has military ties with Indonesia. These include bilateral training and symbolic recognition of what is happening in West Papua. What the parliamentarians internationally and in this House, who are the friends of West Papua, are calling for is a recognition that there needs to be peace, there needs to be justice, and there needs to be human rights. And that we have a proud tradition in this House of standing up for our more vulnerable neighbours in these issues. Without the New Zealand government, I have been assured by many Pacific people that Bougainville could not have been negotiated, and that was a national government. It was very important that we led our role in supporting East Timor after the Holocaust in East Timor for its citizens, and yet we are still silent, still colluding over the issue of West Papua. The people of West Papua who are refugees and who attended the meeting in Canberra yesterday are asking for us to take a constructive role in the region in calling for a peaceful dialogue with Indonesia. It is not about attacking an important neighbour like Indonesia. It's not about denying the relationship. It's about saying to Indonesia, yes, democracy is developing positively in your country, but something is happening in a dark corner which you are not prepared to talk about, and we want to help you talk about it. The land of the Morning Star is not only the victim to human rights abuses, but to illegal logging. And when I came into this House and put forward a bill to stop the loopholes for products of illegal logging, it was voted down immediately by the government. And yet this is part of the blood on the barbecue. This is part of what happens when we allow kwila, which is illegally logged by the military in West Papua, to be brought into our country. We are also implicated through the Freeport-McMoran mine. Now, if you've never heard the word Freeport-McMoran, go and Google it and have a look on the map of these vast, huge open-cast pits that have been dug in what they call the head of the mother. The Morning Star is the one place where you cannot raise a flag. It's the one place where people are being tortured and killed. And my plea to this House is that all of us, across parties, act responsibly in in support of the freedom and justice and human rights of West Papua.
Order. Before I call the Honourable Minister, I just want to mention to the House that standing orders have been amended to discourage the reading of speeches. Now, I did not interrupt the Honourable Member for essentially reading a speech to the House because this is the first general debate. But general debate of all debates should not necessitate members to read speeches unless it's something particularly technical that a member wishes to be covering. That was not a particularly technical speech because the member was present at the occasion she was talking about. I didn't, out of courtesy, interrupt the member, but I will in the future because I want to hear debate in this House, not speeches read in this House, especially in the general debate. The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
Mr. Speaker, those